Hello everyone, how's it going? You're going to have to excuse my cue cards, it's a bit old school for a tech forum, but they keep me on track and stop me from waffling a little bit. Thank you very much to Net Profit and to Digital Edge for inviting me here today. What I'm going to speak to you about today is why I believe that it's critical for any organization, regardless of their industry, to understand the why behind what they do. In the next 15 minutes or so, I'm going to share with you a pretty personal story as to how I developed and found my why, and I built a business around it as well. So for those of you who haven't heard of Simon Sinek and his book Start With Why, I'd highly recommend you watch his TED Talk on leaders that are inspiring. It's 20 minutes really well spent. It's the third most watched TED Talk of all time, and it's got about 27 million views. In the little clip, Sinek argues that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And the theory behind this is that the emotional part of our brain, which is called the limbic brain, makes all our purchasing decisions for us. And this part of the brain understands no language at all and is driven purely by feeling. Knowing this, most companies, however, communicate with their customers by telling them exactly what they do, how they sell it, and how their products and services are different to their competitors. Truly inspired organizations, however, make you feel it. Have you ever given it any thought? What does your organization believe? What does it stand for? What is its purpose? Obviously, beyond just making money. And most importantly, how does it make its users or its consumers feel? So Woolworths does this incredibly well. I know that there's some game developers out there that might be asking themselves some tough questions in the games that they make for kids, but Woolies is a great example. In a time when consumers are tightening their belts, everything's costing more, it's more expensive to do everything, this particular retailer just seems to go from strength to strength. It could be because they've turned around their fashion division, or because of the niche that they've carved for themselves in food. But I believe that there's a lot more to it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Why do we have such an emotional connection with Woolies? I, for one, love to go and do a Woolies shop after a long day at the office. It's my favorite thing. My favorite thing. You almost feel good about your shop, except for maybe the amount of money that you spent, but I do it anyway. Every day I go to Woolies in Parktown North in Joburg. Every day. You feel like you're making a healthier and more considered decision for yourself and for your family. We love Woolies so much that we've even developed a nickname for them. And why do you think Woolies do what they do? Yes, to make money, and a lot of it, but also to make a difference. And that's very clear in everything that they do. They do this by providing quality products at affordable prices without compromising on people or the planet. And this philosophy is rooted in what they call the good business journey, and this is core to everything that they do. Very topical at the moment, but on a political front, the ANC had an amazing purpose prior to 1994. It was unapologetic. It was incredibly clear. A free and equal South Africa for everyone. And everyone bought that. Well, the majority bought that. You look at the ANC today, and you might even struggle to understand what they're selling. So what is it that they're selling? And what do they believe? And I don't think that they've distilled that and made that clear to their followers. As a result, the ANC are losing votes. One of the reasons why I think the decrease in votes is quite gradual, as opposed to the quick decrease that you would expect, is because of this incredible purpose that they developed prior to 1994. Here are some tech examples of organizations that have very well-defined whys. Google, to educate people on what they do not know. Apple, to change the way things are done and to think differently. 3M, to solve unsolved problems innovatively. HP, to make technical contributions for the advancement of humanity. So, you know that I work for .good. I've made it my purpose to understand the purpose behind organizations. .good is South Africa's only for-good marketing agency. We work with sustainable brands, brands that want to make a difference, and large non-for-profit organizations. In this day and age, we believe that doing things well simply isn't enough anymore, and that we actually have to do things right too. We also believe that socially conscious communication leads to better relationships, better business, and ultimately, a better world. Now in our third year, we work with big brands like Coca-Cola, Nampak, Woolworths, Energizer, and Tiger Brands to promote the good that these organizations do and to help them to try and do better whilst driving sales and building brand. Before I started .good, I worked in the leadership team for a number of big marketing and media agencies in this country. And through time and through experience, I realized the potential that these organizations had to make a difference. Not just in the billions, and literally I mean billions of rands that are spent in advertising each year, but also in the very real emotional connections that these brands have with their consumers. Until now, kind of for good social cause marketing, very unknown in South Africa. So when I kind of decided to make the change, I realized that before I talked the talk, I had to walk the walk. And I needed to look at myself and define what I was passionate about, and to actually do something about it. I'd recently moved from Cape Town to Johannesburg at the time, and I was immediately struck by how much litter went unnoticed in the city. And I used to travel a lot, so I used to go to a lot of cities within South Africa, and I realized how it wasn't just a Joburg problem, it was a national problem, and I also think that it represents, to a certain degree, our national psyche. And at that point, I decided that is going to be my cause. That is what I'm going to do. I'm going to clean up South Africa. So I combined my newly found passion for litter with the skills that I'd learned, and I created a campaign called Trekking for Trash. And the journey was based around a 3,000-kilometer trek on foot along South Africa's coastline, collecting litter every single day. We had big bin backpack made where we put the litter in. We engaged various different communities, invited communities down to help us, and went and did educational talks at schools. I sold the sponsorship to Nampak's metal divisions, and we promoted their sustainability message as part of ours. And this paid for the hard cost of the journey. And also, I'm not sure how I did this, but I convinced a very good friend of mine, Camilla Howard, to join me on this journey, so at least I didn't have to do it alone. We walked border to border, east to west, from between 40 and 42 kilometers a day. It's a long way. It depended on what the tides were doing, what the weather was doing, and also what lay ahead of us. Some days were pretty tough. I have an extreme fear for snakes, and we started on the West Coast in October. For those of you who no nature. It's when the snakes are coming out of hibernation and they're particularly active. And most days, we saw more snakes than people, which was a very anxious time for me. We would bundubash through forest, bush, without even an animal track to lead us. We knew that we just had to go left. That was kind of like our only woke up, we went left. We'd had to battle currents, and there was always the threat of sharks and sometimes even hippos, crocs, and stonefish when we crossed all the rivers along the way. And the many hours of walking in soft sand actually strained the ligaments underneath my feet, so I was in pain a lot of the time. So it made the walking difficult. Despite all of this, the journey was the most amazing thing I have ever done in my life. And it changed the course of my life forever. We saw the most incredible things, we met the most inspiring people, and I truly feel privileged to have taken this journey. Here's a short clip to show you a little bit more about our journey.
Candy Trekking for Trash initiative is a 3,000-kilometre walk along South Africa's coastline. We'll be collecting litter along the way.
A lot of the litter lands up in the rivers, which flows down the rivers into the seas. And Cam and I brainstormed a name, and we came up with the name Trekking for Trash. And then our sponsors, Nampak Div Food, Nampak Bev Can and Collector Can, came on board under the Can Do title, so it became Can Do Trekking for Trash.
We believe that education is a fundamental part of our campaign.
We're going to junior schools and teaching them from the age of 3. We did a little talk for them, and then we let them carry the backpack to see how heavy it was.
We told them how long it takes for things to decompose, and the kids seem to love it.
I promise to never litter.
I promise to never litter.
I've got my GPS,
Hat,
sun cream,
glasses,
medical aid kit,
a dry bag for my phone.
some sandwiches.
And then I carry the big bin backpack.
The purpose of having our beach cleanups is for our community that's following us to actually come down and get their feet in the sand and their hands dirty.
We have organised beach cleanups in Cape Town, East London, PE and Durban.
People have seen us in various places on Facebook, heard us on the radio, come down, introduce themselves to us, which is really great to meet the people that are following us. And by the sounds of things, they're really enjoying our journey.
It hasn't really been just the two of us in the middle of nowhere. It's connecting with people all the time.
We need to tell people about what we're doing, create awareness.
We've got 7,600 people following us at the moment. If we post a photo on Facebook of a real problem area, families end up going down there with their kids and taking bags on and filling them up, and then they post their pictures on our wall.
People are open to what we have to say. So I think through that association, our sponsors have got huge leverage through that media coverage. So in terms of return on investment, it's really good bang for their buck.
Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to get to the border.
That saying that it's not about the destination, it's about the journey is very true, particularly for us.
There's a little bit of emotion welling up there towards the finish line.
I feel elated. I can't believe it's over. I honestly feel like we've made a tangible difference.
We hope that we've inspired people to take our message further.
On behalf of Nampak Bev Can, Nampak Div Food, as well as our collector can operations, we'd like to obviously say thank you. It's a small token, but you demonstrate the true mettle of what passion and making a difference, not only to an individual, but to communities as well as to a country.
Thanks. So through this journey, I realized that it was possible to build brands, to drive sales, and to do good at the same time. So I suppose you can say that I found my why through 1,600 hours of quiet meditation, 4 million steps, and 7 months, and 10 pairs of shoes. So I'm not expecting you to take all that time out to find your why. So what I've done is I've come up with 2 methods that I believe will help you to define your organization's purpose and to connect with people on a very real level. So, number 1 rule of entrepreneurship: what problem does your business solve? And give that some thought. And hopefully at this point you all have defined this. Understand how the solution impacts people's life. Now, this is on a very real basis. So what actually does your solution do for people? Ask yourself why this matters, and repeat again and again if necessary to get to your core. Let's use Uber an example. It's an example that we all know. They are an app-based transportation company. What is the problem that Uber solves? They transport people from A to B with the use of a private driver almost anywhere in the world. That's the solution that they solve. Why does this matter? Well, it gets people from A to B, okay? And also allows drivers the opportunity to earn revenue. So I'm not sure if this is Uber's purpose, but it's something that I believe that a communication strategy, a business strategy can be built on. Why does this matter? Because it provides endless possibilities for riders and drivers. Okay, defining your purpose is a very personal thing, so this might apply more to founders, CEOs, MDs. What I challenge you to do is imagine your last day of work, when all is said and done, all the sweat and tears have been leached from your body, and you look back on your career, and you feel proud and happy and content about what you've achieved. You know that there's someone or a business or company that will drive what you've started forward. And then what I'd like you to do is think about what you've achieved and ask yourself what stands out, what matters to you, and what do you believe? And you can use these kind of ideas as a roadmap to define your purpose. And then, on a final thought. So I spoke about it earlier, the limbic brain, the one that drives emotion and behavior, okay? It is very alive in business. As much as we try and suppress it, we need to listen to it. So if something just feels right, and you know it feels right, pursue it. If something feels wrong, you've got to ask yourself why. Trust that feeling. Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and look forward to chatting to you in the break.